The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
A crosstown rivalry renewed at the pit as Quincy High School and Quincy Notre Dame duel on pink night. An awesome crowd and plenty of pink in the stands, and the action on the floor was red hot. Eva Breckenkamp establishing the tone early for the Raiders. Chance for Breckenkamp to swing out of the middle on the serve receive, and she goes back against the grain. No chance for the Blue Devils, and we're tied at 1. Later in the set, QND starting to pull away a bit. How about the libero Jocelyn Boyer setting up Nora Wiley for an attack out of the back row off the Blue Devils block and out, and it's 7-3 Raiders. Jada Brown would factor heavily into this game for the Blue Devils. She played really well. Very next point, Brown finds just enough space down that line to deliver a kill to make it 7-4. After that, though, the Raiders would recreate that separation they had moments earlier. It's 9-4 now. Wiley with the tip shot. Great hustle by Avery Lubick to save it, but Wiley springs back up and smashes an overpass kill to send the Raiders in their student section into a frenzy. Blue Devils have trimmed it to 12-8 now, but how about some serve-receive offense and some more thunder from Wiley? She gets the 2-for-1, the dig, plus the kill for Wiley, and the Raiders' lead is back to 5. The Raiders stretch it to 19-9, but a little spurt here by the Blue Devils. It's 19-11 before Brown gets a back set from Madeline Hamby and delivers another kill right down the line. The Blue Devils would never really threaten the rest of the set. We're at set point here, 24-17. The serve-receive offense just impeccable from the Raiders. Boyer to Sophia White to Breckenkamp for the kill. Raiders take the first set by 8. Blue Devils would take control in the early going of the second set. The Blue Devils with some serve-receive offense of their own. And Madison Luce winds up and hits it down hard. 2-1 Blue Devils. 8-5 Blue Devils now. A bit of a crazy sequence here. The ball hits the net. The Raiders still get it over. Then some quick offense from the Blue Devils. And it's Lena Bunty out of the middle. Nicely done all around. And it's 9-5. Raiders would claw their way back, though. Blue Devils lead 13-12. As hard as Wiley hits the ball, she's got some finesse to her game, too. Beautifully executed tip shot to tie the set at 13. Raiders would never take the lead the rest of the set, however, because the Blue Devils cranked it up a notch. Included in that is the defense of Leah Knutson. Really good swing from Kate Gramke, but Knutson just eats it, and it's a heck of a pass to setter Kristen Damon. Tees it up for Maddie Marquardt, and Marquardt sets her feet and finishes off the point to make it 20-15 Blue Devils. Blue Devils led 24-19 at one point, but the Raiders would come storming back. At 24-21, a free ball for the Raiders to go to work on, and speaking of going to work, Breckenkamp does just that, further extending the set with yet another kill, one of her 10 on the night, and the Blue Devils are forced to call timeout. Raiders would score the next point out of the timeout, really putting a scare into the Blue Devils, but Luce says, "I've had enough of this." She splits the gap in the Raiders' defense, and let me tell you, I was in the bleachers next to the Quincy High student section. The bleachers were literally shaking, and rightly so, because we're headed to a decisive third set for the second time in 9 days between these two teams. And speaking of decisive, the Raiders gave themselves a decisive edge early in the set, thanks in part to Wiley. QND is up 2-0 before Wiley just blisters this ball right down the middle. And the Raiders like to do this thing where they shove the player who gets a kill, especially in a big moment, but White catches Wiley a little high. Looked like in the throat, but they laugh it off, and the Raiders keep on keeping on. It's 6-zip now, and Wiley would get in on the fun in the block game as well. Blue Devils try their luck with Alyssa Farlow, but Wiley can be a one-woman wrecking crew, and she wrecks Farlow's chances of a kill right here. The solo block, and the Raiders' lead swells to 7. Brown would put a stop to that run, though. Man, you never know on any given night who's going to step up for these Devils. And on this night, it was Brown. Another kill for her. And QHS is on the board in the final stanza. It was seesaw back and forth for a while. It's 10-4 Raiders at this juncture. Bit of a scramble drill for the Raiders, but Gramke goes cross-court for the kill to maintain that comfortable lead for the Raiders. But here come the Blue Devils on the very next point. Some quick strike offense for Quincy High. One of the best serve-receive teams around, and here goes Brown again on the right side. Just gorgeous stuff right there. Back to a half dozen we go. The Raiders would take their largest lead of the set right here. Again, some solid serve-receive offense for the Blue Devils. Gramke just reads this like a book. Textbook positioning on the block for Gramke, and the Raiders' lead grows to 17-9. Blue Devils would get within 4 a couple times, but the Raiders would maintain their cushion for a large chunk of this set. Then we get to match point right here. Perfect pass from Wiley off the Damon serve. Taylor Ginnenbacher drops a dime to Breckenkamp. Neva does the rest. A smile as bright as the sun for Breckenkamp, and the Raiders can taste victory. But the Blue Devils will show some dynamite resolve. They get a kill right here from Edie Campbell to make it 24-20. And some good fortune a couple points later as Lubeck's serve catches a considerable chunk of the tape but tumbles over for the ace to make it 24-22. That prompts Raiders coach Danielle White to call timeout. Here's what she said to her team in that huddle.
I told them to keep it simple. I said, you're getting tired. We're forcing stuff. Just keep it simple. Find the floor, finish the game, and then we'll breathe.
The Blue Devils would make life even more difficult on the Raiders, though, because out of the timeout, Bunty blocks Gramke, and the Raiders have to go to a 5th match point. But that simple approach from the Raiders would finally allow them to breathe. Very next point, Wiley saves it off the back line. Ginnenbacher with the set to Gramke, and at long last, the Raiders finally fend off the Blue Devils in an instant classic at the pit, 25-17, 23-25, 25-23. These teams in this atmosphere always deliver. Here's some post-game reaction from both sides.
Yeah, I was getting tired, I'm not going to lie. I was ready for it to be over. I mean, it's awesome. And my dad, the first thing he said to me was, you own them, because I've never lost to QHS in my high school career. So, I mean, it just adds to it. It's awesome.
I mean, it obviously boosts our confidence. You know, like this win means a lot. No matter how good of a game it was, it still means a lot. And, you know, proud to say that we can win those. And I think that this late in the season really shows the way our team is built up and what we've got going. And we're looking for a strong postseason run.
It takes me back to the Hannibal game. I mean, like when we were down, 7 or 8 points and we came back and won it, that just sits in the back of my mind that any team could do that to us. And so just finishing strong, that's something we got to focus on going forward.
I've had a lot of people commend us on being able to come back 9 points down and be able to take a set. We did that against Hartsburg at our tournament. So it's crazy that they can do it. I love it. I would rather be ahead or a little bit closer in that, but we just know that going into postseason, every team's going to bring their best game, and we've got to be able to bring ours.
Muddy River Sports, our home, our sports.